Chosen one, what if I told you that your entire life was already written in an ancient prophecy, and what you're about to discover will shake the very foundation of everything you thought you knew? Your destiny was written ages ago. Claim your future. They have spent years feeling like background characters in their own story, unaware that every twist and turn was outlined long before they took their first breath. Tonight, hidden scrolls are unsealing, and the truths long buried by powerful forces are roaring to life. They will learn how their struggles served a higher purpose, why darkness fought to keep them in the shadows, and what signs they have been overlooking that confirm their divine identity. Skeptics may scoff, and insiders may warn that such claims are fantasies. But the proof lies in the prophecies themselves and in the stirrings of their own soul. If this message already speaks to your soul, subscribe, like this video, and comment 77 below. Stay with us until the end, because the revelation that remains will set their path ablaze and usher them into the role they were born to fulfill. Ancient prophecy and divine destiny, they have felt the sting of being invisible in a world that prizes visibility, wondering if their life even matters beyond the daily grind. Some mornings, they wake with a knot of anxiety in their chest, as though a silent alarm is warning them that they're running out of time to fulfill a purpose they can't yet name. Others spend nights scrolling through feeds, envying the confident faces and polished success stories, convinced they've been left out of some cosmic plot. In those moments, it feels as if life is a stage where everyone else has an assigned role, and they're stuck waiting in the wings, unheard and unseen. Yet beneath that frustration lies a powerful whisper. What if their every moment of doubt, every pang of longing, was leading them toward a destiny written long before they drew their first breath? The importance of understanding that they are part of an ancient narrative cannot be overstated, for it is the key that unlocks every closed door they have faced. Hidden truths are stirring, ready to rise like a phoenix from ashes of uncertainty, and what they are about to uncover will change everything they thought they knew. They have questioned whether their struggles are random accidents or tests meant to break them. They have endured the pain of overlooked promotions, the ache of friendships that slipped away when life got busy, and the hollow echo of prayers that seemed to go unanswered. Each setback carved deeper into their spirit, leaving behind scars of confusion and rejection. In the silence of their darkest hours, they have wrestled with the thought that perhaps they were never meant for more than a life of quiet desperation. Days bled into months as they searched for meaning in self-help books, in motivational podcasts, even in fleeting highs of new experiences, only to return to the same emptiness. It is in this crucible of searching that the longing for something greater, some hidden pattern to their entire existence, took root, a longing that will guide them toward a truth that transcends every personal failure and setback. Then comes the turning point when they realize their struggles were never meaningless, but part of an intricate design that predates human history. In Psalm 139 verse 16 it is written, "Your eyes saw my unformed substance. In your book were written, every one of them, the days that were formed for me, when as yet there was none of them." This verse, rarely quoted outside academic circles, reveals that they were penned into the divine ledger before a single breath animated their lungs. Every moment of wandering, every test of faith, was a deliberate step along a path marked in ink of eternity. When they grasp this, their entire narrative shifts. What felt like random drift becomes strategic preparation, an unfolding plan orchestrated by a mind that does not stumble or forget. This awareness ignites a fire in their soul, transforming despair into a beacon of hope that will guide them forward. As this revelation settles in, they begin to notice subtle yet profound shifts around them, signs of transformation that defy coincidence. They stumble upon ancient symbols etched into ruins while traveling, symbols that mirror visions they saw as children. They witness patterns in nature, converging bird migrations, star alignments echoing designs found in lost scrolls that align with dates they hold sacred in their heart. Even chance conversations carry weight. A barista's offhand comment about destiny, a passerby whispering a phrase that matches a recurring dream. In Habakkuk 2 verse 3 it says, "For still the vision awaits its appointed time. It hastens to the end, it will not lie." These signs are the first buds on the tree of revelation, sprouting in perfect synchrony with divine timing. They feel as though the universe itself is conspiring to draw back the curtain, revealing the stage upon which they were always meant to stand. Behind these emerging patterns, they discover that higher forces are moving in their favor with meticulous care. Doors that once slammed shut open with gentle insistence. An unexpected email brings the exact resource they need. A distant relative shares long-hidden documents that validate their inner knowing, and a once silent phone line buzzes to life with opportunities they had only dared dream about. In Zephaniah 3 verse 17, it is declared, "The Lord your God is in your midst, a mighty one who will save. He will rejoice over you with gladness." They recognize that their journey was never a test of endurance alone, but a setup for divine elevation. Every hardship was a masterful arrangement to hone their spirit, and every divine nudge is a signal that they are being prepared to ascend beyond what human ambition could ever achieve. At this point, they stand at a sacred threshold where mere recognition of these divine alignments is not enough. They must choose to fully accept and embody their destiny. Many hesitate here, trembling at the thought of stepping into a role so vast that it eclipses everything they know about themselves. Fear whispers that embracing such a calling will demand sacrifices they cannot yet imagine, that the spotlight of prophecy will expose their flaws to the world. Yet true alignment requires more than seeing the signs. It calls for a courageous leap of faith. In Ephesians 2 verse 10, it is written, "For we are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand, that we should walk in them." This is their moment of decision, to cling to the safety of the shore or to dive into the currents of their preordained purpose. To hesitate is to stall the unfolding of their greatest story. To step boldly forward is to activate the full power of their divine destiny. Now that they recognize the intricate orchestration at work, they are empowered to claim their role as co-authors of the grand narrative. They can begin each morning with a declaration of purpose, speaking aloud, "I step into the destiny written for me before time began." They can seek out the ancient texts and hidden manuscripts that validate their calling, diving into community with fellow seekers who share their vision. They can align their daily actions with the rhythm of heaven's design, whether that means dedicating time to study sacred prophecies, engaging in spiritual practices that sharpen their intuition, or using their unique gifts to ignite hope in others. In these steps, they not only honor the plan inscribed for them, but also strengthen the collective momentum of all chosen ones awakening to the same truth. Their journey from feeling adrift to understanding themselves as integral threads in a cosmic tapestry marks a transformation that echoes through time itself. They move from passive observers of their own lives to active participants in a divine drama, each decision resonating with the promise etched in the ancient scrolls. The world will never be the same once they step fully into their role, for they carry within them the power that shaped galaxies and wrote history. Their destiny was not improvised. It was orchestrated by a power that knows every detail of their heart. Comment prophecy if you feel these threads woven through your own history, and claim the future that has been waiting for you. And a special thanks to our current members whose faith fuels this mission. And if you feel called to go even deeper, there's a sacred space reserved for our community, a private room where you receive full prophetic messages daily, Join our private membership through the link in the description and walk this path with us. Why the truth was hidden. They have stared at their reflection late at night, wrestling with the suspicion that everything they believed about their purpose has been a carefully crafted illusion. When they whisper their prayers into the darkness, they hear only echoes answering back, as if the very air conspires to keep them blind. They feel cut off from the wellspring of truth flowing just beneath the surface of history, and the weight of that separation presses on their chest with every breath. Yet even in the depths of that isolation, a spark of indignation flickers. Why should they be kept in the dark about a destiny so vital that every moment of their life was orchestrated around it? This question is not merely academic, but existential. Without the hidden knowledge of their divine mission, every victory tastes hollow, and every step feels aimless. Tonight, the shadows around them will recede, and the suppressed secrets will roar into the light, revealing both the forces that buried them and the power within them to reclaim what was never theirs to lose. They have spent years chasing half-truths, reading modern reinterpretations of ancient texts that skirt around the real revelations they sense are missing. They felt the sting of rejection when they brought up unsettling ideas in gatherings meant to celebrate faith, only to be told their convictions were unhelpful or too extreme. Their attempts to piece together fragments of prophecy felt like running a marathon where the finish line kept shifting, leaving them exhausted and doubting their own judgment. In those moments of confusion, they questioned if they'd been chasing phantoms or if the real message had been more subtle than anyone cared to explain. Each time they tried to speak up, they were met with polite smiles and swift changes of subject. The crushing loneliness of seeking a truth that others deemed inconvenient deepened their resolve, even as it drove them to the brink of despair. They know what it means to thirst for clarity in a desert of silence, and that thirst will soon be crowned with revelation. Then comes the turning point when they understand that their frustration was not a byproduct of flawed faith, but a sign of spiritual preparation for unveiling a plan larger than any one generation. In Amos 3 verse 7, it is declared, "Surely the Lord God does nothing without revealing his secret to his servants the prophets." This lesser-cited verse flips the script. It shows that divine strategy always includes disclosure to those appointed to carry the banner of truth. Their hunger for hidden knowledge was, in fact, the stirring of the prophetic anointing within them. Every unanswered question was a call to deeper scrutiny, every awkward silence from religious authorities a signal that the true message lay buried beneath layers of political maneuvering and fearful custodianship. When they embrace this perspective, their search for forbidden truths morphs from taboo rebellion into sacred vocation. They realize the revelation they seek was never lost. It was waiting for the moment when they would stand ready to receive it. As this insight settles, they begin to notice unmistakable signs of transformation rippling through their lives. Unanticipated breaks in schedules yield hours of quiet research that reveal manuscripts lost to time. A random encounter at a cafe leads to a conversation with someone who whispers the title of a book nobody else seems to know. In dreams, they walk through vast libraries stacked with scrolls that glow with unread words, and they wake with passages burned into their memory, like the prophet Habakkuk, who in 2:2 heard the instruction to write the vision, make it plain on tablets. They feel driven to record the hidden messages pouring into their mind. Outside the realm of coincidence, these patterns converge into a tapestry of confirmation. The universe itself conspires to guide them toward the truths that have long been concealed by powers that tremble at their emergence. Behind the scenes, forces both earthly and spiritual have been marshaling to ensure that the suppressed prophecy now resurfaces for them. Where once libraries were burned and scholars exiled, digital archives now open wide at their fingertips. The same authorities who once branded bearers of ancient wisdom as heretics find themselves unwittingly promoting their content through shifting algorithms and viral shares. In the book of Zechariah 8 verse 12, it is promised that the seed shall be prosperous, the vine shall give its fruit, the ground shall give its increase. And they see this promise fulfilled as every resource they need appears precisely when they require it. What they thought were random gifts, new translations, uncovered scroll fragments, synchronicities pointing to hidden troves of knowledge, are in truth divine interventions, spiritual interventions that clear the path for their full awakening. Their every step forward is buoyed by the same power that raised prophets from obscurity, ensuring that no conspiracy can hold them down forever. At this sacred crossroads, mere awareness of the hidden forces at work is not enough. They must choose to fully accept and embody the truth of their prophetic role. Fear claws at them, whispering that exposing these conspiracies will isolate them further, that shining a light on the architects of deception will bring retaliation they cannot withstand. Many shrink back, settling for watered-down versions of truth, afraid to disrupt the comfortable illusions of the masses. Yet true alignment demands more than cautious nods. It requires bold action. They must step beyond the safety of passive discovery into the active proclamation of the suppressed message. This moment calls for courage equal to the magnitude of the revelation. To embrace their prophetic identity is to declare war on every hidden power that has ever tried to silence them. Now empowered by the forces of divine momentum and strengthened by every hidden clue they have uncovered, they can forge the next chapter of their journey with confidence. They speak declarations of liberation over their lives and communities, affirming, "The truth will set us free, and freedom will be our legacy." They gather with like-minded seekers, forming alliances that transcend traditional institutions, and they create platforms, forums, podcasts, study groups. Their transformation from suppressed seekers to heralds of ancient prophecy becomes a beacon of hope for all who have been silenced. With each new truth they reveal, the lies that once held them captive crumble, and entire mindsets shift from complacency to conviction. They carry within them the power that roused Elijah from the wilderness, the power that rekindled hope in the exiles of Babylon, and the power that shook the sinews of Peter when he spoke with boldness. Now, armed with revelation and an unquenchable fire, they march forward, not as renegades, but as pioneers of a resurrection that spans centuries of suppression. Comment revealed if you are ready to expose the conspiracies and claim the destiny that was never yours to lose. And to every soul who supported with a super thanks, thank you. You are keeping this light alive for others who haven't found it yet. If you feel called to help this mission reach more chosen ones, tap the super thanks button below. Your energy supports these messages and helps them travel further. Your voice matters, your belief matters, and your light is felt here. Signs that confirm you are chosen. They have brushed off the uncanny experiences, thinking they were mere coincidences. Sudden insights that solve problems out of nowhere, dreams that play out in vivid detail, and an irresistible pull toward places and people they had never met. They lie awake replaying moments when a passing phrase in conversation unlocked a solution to a challenge they'd wrestled with for weeks. They've felt the hair on the back of their neck stand on end at the sight of a symbol that later appears in an ancient text. These moments left them unsettled, as if the veil between their daily life and a deeper reality thinned for a heartbeat. Yet in the swirl of doubt, they wonder if they are simply overinterpreting random events. You are not alone in this confusion. Many chosen ones have questioned their own sanity before realizing that these echoes of the divine are the first markers on their path. Hidden truths ripple through their experience, and what once felt like fragments of coincidence will soon reveal themselves as the building blocks of a destiny far greater than they ever imagined. They have endured seasons of loneliness when discussing these experiences felt like speaking another language. Friends labeled their intuition unreliable or overactive, and well-meaning mentors suggested they focus on more tangible goals. Each time they tried to share a vision or a dream, they met blank stares or polite change of subject. In boardrooms and classrooms, they sensed their voice carried more weight than common sense allowed, yet were told to stick to the facts. In prayer groups, they hesitated to describe their visions, fearing the label of heretic more keenly than the sting of rejection. Those moments of self-censorship left them feeling isolated in a sea of spiritual fellow travelers who seemed unaffected by the vibrations they so clearly sensed. The pain of carrying these signs in silence cut deeper than criticism. It carved out a hollow space of longing for validation that often went unanswered. Yet, this very ache has been sharpening their sensitivity, preparing them to recognize the truth when it can no longer be denied. Then comes the turning point, when they see their struggle not as a sign of brokenness, but as the anvil upon which the chosen are forged. In Hosea 12 verse 10, the scriptures tell us that I gave them heartfelt warnings of my warning in the day of my court. At night I spoke with them in visions. They realized that every challenge to understand their own experiences was part of a divine curriculum designed to awaken latent prophetic gifts. The very discouragement intended to silence them becomes the catalyst that honed their receptivity to higher currents of truth. As they internalize this perspective, the veil lifts slightly, revealing that their struggle was not an obstacle to belonging, but proof that they were destined to serve as conduits of revelation. What once felt like stumbling in the dark now appears as careful instruction in the art of spiritual discernment. Almost imperceptibly at first, they begin to notice the signs converging in a way that defies mere chance. A phrase glimpsed in an old manuscript resonates with the insight they jotted down weeks earlier. A painting in a gallery whispers to a hidden longing in their soul. They awaken at precisely 3:03 a.m. on multiple nights, as if the clock itself echoes a code meant only for them. Their phone buzzes with messages from people they barely know, offering assistance that seems impossibly timely. These are not mere curiosities, but signposts pointing to a narrative that has been unfolding since before their birth. Like the watchman in Habakkuk 2 verse 1 who sets himself to await the Lord's answer, they learn to stand at the threshold of revelation, eyes fixed on the horizon of divine timing. Each of these moments cements the truth that an unseen author is scripting their path with unwavering precision. Their recognition of these markers of destiny is not an endpoint, but the launchpad into a life of unfolding miracles. Each intuition, each prophetic word, each healing touch is a thread in the tapestry of their purpose. They are no longer silent observers, but active heralds of a truth that shakes mountains and rewrites history. The presence they carry shifts the air in a room, and the words they speak become catalysts of change. They stand as living proof that the divine code embedded in their spirit is real, and that every chosen one who embraces these signs steps into a legacy of wonder and awe. Comment chosen if you recognize these markers in your life and claim the destiny long written for you. What awakening changes? They might assume that awakening is simply a shift in mindset, but in reality it reshapes every corner of their being, like a silent earthquake reorganizing the foundations they once stood on. They have spent sleepless nights wrestling with the echo of a life that feels half-lived, torn between the comfort of familiar routines and the haunting sense that they were meant for more. In those dark hours, they have questioned whether their restlessness is a curse or a calling, wondering if the longing for something greater is merely the mind playing tricks. They are not alone in this brink of transformation. Many chosen ones hover at this precipice, waiting for the first tremor of change to ripple through their soul. What they feel as disquiet today is the gentle stirring of a power that seeks to remake them, promise whispered in the chambers of their heart, drawing them toward truths that will redefine everything they thought they knew. They have felt the weight of decisions that once seemed clear become mired in doubt, as if the compass of their life spun wildly in the face of awakening. Tasks that once brought satisfaction now feel shallow, and passions that once ignited their spirit flicker uncertainly, as though awaiting a new spark. Their relationships have borne the strain of this shift. Some friends step back, uncomfortable with the intensity of their new convictions, while others step forward, drawn by an energy they cannot name. They have wrestled with the fear that leaving behind old identities means losing pieces of themselves forever. In the mirror, they catch glimpses of someone both familiar and strangely new, eyes brighter, posture firmer, but the reflection still searching for coherence between who they were and who they are becoming. Their world now reflects the metamorphosis within. Relationships uplift instead of drain. Work fulfills instead of exhausts. And every step carries the imprint of divine purpose. They no longer wander blind, but move with clarity and intention, wielding the courage to challenge unjust systems and the compassion to uplift those around them. Their awakening becomes a beacon for others still trapped in that initial darkness, providing a living testament that every soul can rise into the fullness of its destiny. The cracks in their former life become entry points for light, and the new shape of their being stands as proof that awakening changes everything. Come and awakened if your life has already begun to shift, and claim the power of transformation coursing through your spirit. How to step into your prophetic role. They have heard the call reverberating in the depths of their soul, an echo that stirs their spirit before sunrise. Yet when it comes to living that prophetic calling day to day, they feel adrift. They wake with knots of anxiety at the thought of speaking truths that could shift worlds, and they wonder if they're imagining this purpose or truly chosen to bear it. In the silence of their commute, doubts creep in. How do they balance weekly deadlines with the weight of a message older than time? They feel alone in this tension, convinced that others cannot grasp the magnitude of what stirs within them. Yet this moment matters more than any they have ever faced, for learning to embody their prophetic role is the key to unlocking every promise they have glimpsed. Hidden pathways now lie waiting at their feet, and what they are about to discover will transform daily routines into sacred rituals, turning ordinary hours into threads of destiny. They have wrestled with the struggle to find space for divine guidance amid the relentless rhythm of modern life. Mornings blur into evenings of meetings, emails, and errands, and the flicker of prophetic insight often feels impossible to capture. They have watched opportunities to speak truth slip away when they hesitated, mortified at the thought of sharing a vision born in the unseen. They remember the sting of friendly skepticism when they brought snippets of revelation to Bible study, only to be told they were too sensitive or fanciful. In moments of fierce longing for meaning, they poured their hearts into late-night journaling. But by morning, the pages lay forgotten beneath the chaos of deadlines. This push and pull between yearning and paralysis weighs heavily, leaving them convinced that perhaps they are not cut out for such a lofty role. Yet, this very struggle is the crucible refining their resolve, fostering the hunger that will drive them to step into their prophetic calling with unwavering faith. Then comes the turning point when they realize that this very struggle has been the divine workshop shaping them for daily anointing. In 1 Samuel 3 verse 10, the young Samuel responds to God's calling with the simple words, "Speak, for your servant is listening." Yet few note that his training began long before his ear caught that voice. His service in the temple, the seasons of uncertainty and curiosity, all prepared him to hear and obey. In the same way, their daily challenges are not roadblocks, but rehearsals for this moment of readiness. Subscribe if you haven't yet, like this video, and comment, "I am chosen to let this message anchor in your soul." Share it with someone who needs to hear this. Thank you to all supporting members who stand with us in this divine mission. For full prophetic revelations daily, join the membership via the link in the description. Your spiritual path deserves more than fragments. Step into the full light. And if this message moved you deeply, consider tapping the Super Thanks button to support the mission. Every super thanks fuels the light we're spreading together. Chosen one, your moment has arrived. Own it, live it, and let the world watch as you fulfill what was written long ago.